The girl and the red umbrella. The rain did not start gently. It slammed into the city as if the sky had finally decided to speak after years of silence. People ran. Cars hissed through flooded streets. Shop lights flickered behind curtains of water. And in the middle of it all, the girl stood still, holding a red umbrella that did not belong to her. She had found it leaning against a bus stop bench, forgotten or abandoned, its fabric bright enough to look unreal against the gray afternoon. She should have ignored it. Everyone knew better than to touch things that weren't theirs. But the rain was merciless, and the umbrella seemed to wait for her, the handle angled just enough to invite a hand. The moment she picked it up, something changed. Not the rain, not the street. Something inside her chest loosened, just slightly, like a knot that had grown tired of holding itself together. She stepped forward, the red canopy blooming above her, and for the first time that day, she did not feel rushed. The girl was used to moving fast. Fast mornings, fast meals, fast apologies. She lived in a world that rewarded speed and punished hesitation. Her days were measured in deadlines and expectations that never asked if she was tired. She had learned to disappear into crowds, to become small, efficient, unnoticed. But under the red umbrella, the world slowed. Raindrops struck the fabric with a soft, steady rhythm, muting the city's noise. People brushed past her, glancing once, sometimes twice, drawn to the color. The umbrella did not just keep her dry, it separated her, gently, from everything else. She walked without direction, letting streets choose her. The red umbrella seemed to glow brighter with every step, a moving point of warmth in a washed-out world. She noticed things she usually missed, the reflection of neon signs trembling in puddles, the smell of wet concrete, the sound of someone laughing under an awning. At a crosswalk, an old woman stared at the umbrella and smiled. "That color suits you," she said. The girl opened her mouth to respond, then hesitated. No one ever said things like that to her. "It's not mine," she replied. The old woman nodded knowingly. Most important things aren't, at first. The light changed. The woman disappeared into the crowd. The girl stood there longer than necessary, heart beating faster for reasons she couldn't explain. She tightened her grip on the handle and kept walking. As the rain deepened, so did her thoughts. Memories surfaced, moments she had pushed aside because they slowed her down. The dream she once had of painting. The letter she never sent. The version of herself she stopped listening to because it asked difficult questions. The umbrella swayed slightly with each step, as if responding to her mood. When she hesitated, it steadied. When she rushed, it tugged her pace slower, catching the wind just enough to resist. She laughed once, quietly, at the absurdity of it. By the time she reached the river, the rain had become a curtain. The water below surged, dark and restless. She leaned against the railing, red umbrella tilted forward, watching the current carry leaves and debris away without effort. "That must be nice," she whispered. "To just go." A voice answered from nearby. "It is. Until you realize you never chose the direction." She was startled and turned. A man stood under the bridge, sheltering from the rain, his clothes damp, his eyes sharp and calm. He looked at the umbrella, not at her. That one has a habit of finding people who stand still long enough. Her throat tightened. "Do you know who it belongs to?" He shrugged. "It belongs to whoever needs it. That's the trouble." Before she could ask what he meant, he stepped back into the rain and vanished, as if absorbed by it. The girl's heart pounded. She stared at the umbrella, then at the river. The red seemed deeper now, almost alive. She realized something frightening. She didn't want to give it back. The rain followed her home. Not physically, she knew that was impossible, but the feeling of it stayed, clinging to her thoughts like damp fabric. She stood in her small apartment, water dripping from her shoes onto the floor, the red umbrella resting against the wall like a quiet accusation. She stared at it for a long time. It didn't match anything she owned. Her life was beige and practical and safe. The umbrella was bold, almost defiant. It did not blend in. It demanded to be noticed. She slept poorly that night, dreaming of rain falling upward, of streets bending, of herself standing in the open without the umbrella and not feeling cold. When she woke, the sky was clear. Sunlight spilled through the window. The umbrella was still there. She took it with her anyway. Under blue skies, it looked ridiculous, and she felt eyes on her as she walked. Some people laughed. Some frowned. A child pointed. She almost turned back, almost folded it away, but something stopped her. The umbrella felt heavier now, not in weight, but in meaning. At work, her manager raised an eyebrow. "Expecting weather?" She shook her head. "No, just carrying something." The day dragged. Without the rain's rhythm, the umbrella felt restless, its red fabric catching the light, reflecting against walls, staining her vision. By afternoon, clouds gathered again, fast and sudden. When the rain returned, it came only where she stood. She noticed it first on the sidewalk ahead, a narrow strip of falling water, no wider than a car, moving slowly, deliberately. She stepped into it, heart racing, and raised the umbrella. The rain followed her, obedient and precise. People stared now, openly. She walked faster. The rain matched her pace. Slower. It slowed. She stopped. It poured straight down, isolating her in a circle of sound and motion. Panic surged. She ducked into an alley, breath shallow, mind racing. "This isn't real," she whispered. "This isn't happening." The umbrella warmed in her hand. She understood then. The umbrella wasn't causing the rain. It was revealing it. All the weather she had carried inside, grief, longing, fear, had nowhere to go until now. The alley darkened as the rain intensified. She slid down the wall, sitting on the wet ground, clutching the umbrella as tears finally broke free. She cried for the life she had compressed into something manageable. She cried for the risks she never took. She cried because stopping felt terrifying and necessary. The rain eased. She stood slowly, exhausted, clearer. When she stepped back onto the street, the rain no longer followed. It fell where it belonged, everywhere at once. That evening, she walked back to the bus stop where she had first found the umbrella. She leaned it carefully against the bench, handle angled outward. It took effort to let go. As she turned to leave, rain began again, gentle this time, natural and wide. She felt it soak her hair, her clothes, her skin. She didn't run. Behind her, someone picked up the red umbrella. She didn't look back. The next morning, the city felt different. Not quieter, not kinder, but more honest. She wore brighter colors. She walked slower. When an idea surfaced that scared her, she listened instead of pushing it away. She never saw the umbrella again. But sometimes, when rain fell and she stood still long enough, she felt that same loosening in her chest. And she smiled, knowing she no longer needed to be carried to notice the storm inside her.